we are going to be looking at another parable. This one concerns the rich fool. And we're going to go over this bit by bit and look at what is being taught here. And as we often say, there are more things to be taught. There are more things that one can bring out of this and know and be able to gain greater and greater lessons. But we start, Luke 12, beginning in verse 13. Then one from the crowd said to him, that is to Christ, one from the crowd said to him, Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me. So this is actually a demand. This is what who are you anyway? And who's your brother? Why would you suddenly say this in a crowd? Tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me. But he said to him, this is Jesus, Man, who made me a judge or an arbitrator over you? How did this even happen? And let's just look at this. Don't use Christ to gain what you covet, because that's what He's doing. Don't use Christ in any way to try to, because of your sin, because there's something that you are coveting, because Jesus is going to use that word concerning what was just said. And this parable that is going to be given is because of what was just said. This demand that is making. And don't think that Christ is going to just jump and do whatever you desire. He's not going to do it. Why should He do it? Now, we've made this illustration before. God does not give you everything you want because it's untenable. It would make ridiculous sort of situations. He doesn't do it, especially when there is something like coveting involved, especially when there is sin involved. He's not going to do it. I've made this illustration before. I'll make it again. Suppose I ask God for France. I want France. Do the French people actually have a say in this? Well, no. I want France. Well, what if they don't want me to gain France? What if they are praying, don't let him have France? Where does this come up? And so God gives me France. All right, what happens when somebody else wants France? This is absurd. It's an absurd notion. It's a childish notion to think that God is somehow your genie. God has somehow got to grant you everything, and if He doesn't, you're going to hate Him. Why? There are certain things He's not going to do. It's going to be against His will. And to support this one in the crowd and his covetousness, Christ is not going to entertain that. He's not going to entertain it. And matter of fact, He says, who made me a judge in this? How did this even happen? How did I become an arbitrator? How did this even occur? Who told you that I would even do this? And how is it Christ's duty? How is Christ's duty bound to this demand? How is He now bound to this demand just because the man said it? All right, this makes no sense. He isn't bound to do it. It's like the man's just delegating to him. You got to do this. Well, no, he doesn't. He doesn't have to do it because he hasn't been made judge over something like that. And he's not going to. And this is what Jesus says. And He said to them, Take heed and beware of covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses. Take heed and beware of covetousness. Now, notice in this, any time that the Bible says, beware of something, take heed of something, be watchful of something, it is serious about it. Never think that temptations don't work, because if they didn't work, Satan couldn't use them, and he wouldn't be using them. Don't think that somehow you are stronger and that you can't be caught up in some kind of covetousness. You can be caught up and not even know you are. It can come out of the depths of your heart, and you have no idea what it is. But he says, take heed and beware. Understand what's happening. Understand when something has arrived in your heart and you are coveting something, and it's something you cannot rightfully have. It's something that you would want to take from somebody else. And so we come to this. What is covetousness? What does it mean? What does it mean to covet? It means an inordinate desire for what belongs to someone else. And there's another word for it, and it's called greed. But this is it's not just greed to have something. There's more to it than that. It is this inordinate desire of what somebody else has. That's what you want. That's what you want. And here is this covetousness that this man has. And here is the amusing thing. Jesus judged the one in the crowd. He says, who made me a judge or an arbitrator over this? And then he's going to judge him for what he just said. He's going to judge him. He's saying he covets for what's not his. That's what he's doing. Because he says, beware, take heed and beware of covetousness. And of course he's talking to that man, he's talking to everybody else. Beware and take heed. Take care of yourself and understand that materialism gets you nowhere. Now, I will say that, like for me, there's something that I want, and I purchase that thing, and there is this brief sort of happy anticipation of receiving that thing. I ordered it, and there's this brief happy anticipation for it. And it's not to be in any way inordinate, but also I have lived long enough to know that once I get that thing, it becomes familiar to me, it becomes commonplace to me, and it really didn't fulfill anything. I enjoyed, the anticipation of it, but eventually in my mind, it just becomes more junk. It's just another thing. It's another thing I have to store, or it's another thing that I have to somehow take care of. It's something else. But Jesus judges this one in the crowd. He does it. Now, we continue on, and we go to verse 16. Then he spoke a parable to them, saying, so here is this parable. The ground of a certain rich man yielded plentifully. So this particular man is already wealthy. Now understand this. It is no sin to be wealthy. It's no sin. There are individuals in the Bible who were wealthy. Some of them were extremely poor. Jesus, where was his house? No, he didn't have one. While he grew up in Nazareth, Nazareth didn't want him anymore. It's not as though he could go back there and stay, because he couldn't. They tried to kill him when he went back and he taught in the synagogue. They tried to kill him. So it's not as though that's going to be a home base. It's not. Jesus was a financial failure. Is there anything wrong with that? Nope. Was he a good steward of his money? You better believe he was. You better believe he was. But understand this, that we're not here just to be proper banking sort of people. We are here to help each other and to help everybody else. That's what good stewardship is where you take what you have been given and you use it for good. You use it for good. Yes, you have to have some to take care of yourself, take care of your family. You need that. That's all part of it. But understand, desiring more and desiring more just for the sake of having more. Now, if it's for the sake of taking care of others, if it's for the sake of your personal truly needs, that's a different matter. But materialism is wrong, and desire for greater and greater and greater. I forgot who it was. It may have been, I forgot which one. It was one of the fellows in the early 20th century. Somebody asked him how much money was too much money. And, well, the answer was, there isn't. There isn't. There's always more to be had. And that's not good, because his wealth, there came a point in time when the man died and he doesn't have it anymore. As a matter of fact, any possession he had on this earth, he doesn't have it anymore. It's no longer his. It goes to somebody else. Now, here is this certain rich man. His ground yielded plentifully, which means it is a bumper crop. This is going to bring him a lot of wealth. He's already wealthy, but this is going to bring him more. Once again, that's not immoral. That's not a sin. He can use this to feed others. And so here is this. There's not a famine, and he's going to be helping in spreading these things around. And yes, people should pay for it, but that's not to say he can't help. Now, we look at this. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do, since I have no room to store my crops? This is a good problem. It's a very good problem. He already has barns, but they're not big enough. He already has places to store his things, but they're not big enough. He's going to have something far greater than that. And it reminds me of a thing I saw quite a number of years ago. It was a documentary. It's about a small town in Iowa, and in Iowa they grow corn. And they had an old silo that had been there for many, many years. And this fellow's talked about his grandfather. He said his grandfather told him that in really good years, they would fill up that silo. In really good years. And somewhere along the line, they had to build larger silos, more of them. And now, on a typical year, not a good year, but a typical year, all of those silos are full, and they have corn just stacked in piles and covered up. And mountains. Just in mountains and covered up. Because even with the new and the bigger and the additional silos, they didn't have enough for what they typically grow. All right, and here he has, and what does that mean? That means we are a place of plenty is what that means. But he has to store his crops somewhere. And he said, I will do this. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there I will store all my crops and goods. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all. And I will say to my soul, this is where he goes wrong. This is where he has a trust or this assumption, and it's an assumption every single one of us makes. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but it's that assumption of another day. It's assumption that we have years ahead of us. And you don't know that. Neither do I. I will say to my soul, soul, you have many goods laid up for many years. Take your ease, eat, drink, and be merry. He can just kick back from this point on and enjoy life. He can just do that. He's got all the things for many years, which means he believes he's going to have many years too. Now those things probably do have many years, but he doesn't. And we see this. Life could not be better, but it will not last. It's not going to last for him. It could not be better for him. But God said to him, fool. That's God's judgment on him. This night your soul will be required of you. Then whose will those things be which you have provided? You have this bumper crop. You have wealth already. You think somehow you have all these years ahead of you. This night, you don't even have the night. You don't even have that. You will die tonight. Then what happens to all this? Well, you don't have it. You can't just take your ease, eat, drink, and be merry. You're not going to be here. You're not going to be here at all. You have put your trust in all that. And he says all this about beware of covetousness. Here is this greed that is in this man. And also this idea of having this life of materialism, this life where everything's taken care of. He doesn't have to worry about anything. He has everything that he needs. And here's the thing, and I have noticed it. As a fella, we were out in another country, and we were door knocking. And the fella, he was another preacher, he said, we were talking about driving by and looking at this really beautiful neighborhood, and he said, beautiful doors don't usually have welcoming people. They're not welcoming the gospel. They have everything. They've got their cars, they've got their house, they know what their next meal is from. They think they have years and years of retirement. They think they have everything solved. Everything is good all the way for years to come. Therefore, why do they want God? That is their conclusion. They have all these things. Why do I need God? I have my cars. I have the house. I have all the creature comforts and then some. I have all this. Tell me why I need God? Because this ends. Because you have it now, but you won't always have it. Even from a materialist prospect, from a materialist perspective, you should know there will be death. But there's also, even with that, there's also a lot of uncertainty concerning anything that's material. It is unstable. It can be taken. It can just turn to dust. And everything of this world is temporary, including you. Everything in this world is temporary. And God says to him, after he calls him a fool, he says, your soul's required. Tonight, your soul's required. Okay, what happens to your plans? What happens to all this that you've done? All right, it's going to go to somebody else. It's going and it's not to you. And it's not so that you can just take your ease. It's not going to you. You only thought of one thing, and it was temporary. That's it. It was temporary. Here we have this. So is he who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God. Now there's the good stewardship, being rich toward God. There is true stewardship there. Being rich toward him. There are plenty of bankers. There are plenty of ungodly people who they can manage money and they can manage it well. Does that make them pleasing to God? Well, if they're not stealing it, they're not displeasing. But are they rich toward God? That would be the question. Are they rich toward God? And someone can, in fact, be wealthy in this life and rich toward God as well. But Christ said that's a very difficult thing to do. He said it was. He said it was a very difficult thing to do. And here is laying up riches, laying up treasures toward God. That God is going to give us everything in the end. A home with him. In my Father's house are many mansions. Did Christ lie about that? He says he wasn't. If it were not so, I would tell you. He's not lying about it. There is this place is just a shadow compared to what heaven is. Is just a shadow. The great things that can be found in this beautiful creation are just a shadow of the things to come that God is going to give to those who love Him, who were faithful to Him, who were obedient to Him, who did lay up treasures in heaven. They will see those treasures. They will see them. And it's far, far greater than here, because there they don't disappear. There it is permanent. There it is eternal. And always, always with God. And never think for a moment that being in the presence of God would ever be dull. It won't. With an eternity with Him, it will never be dull. There will always be an extraordinary reward given to us all. And part of that reward is eternity with Him. That's enough. That's enough. But here is this bit now. So is he who lays up treasures for himself. What happens? They're gone. They're absolutely gone. Now, there may be goods for many years, but he, that wealthy man, would not see it. His time was now over. It's done. He made all of this extraordinary, well, he didn't do it. He's got this bumper crop that is there, and he thinks that he can just rely on it, but that bumper crop and all the wealth that it could provide cannot keep him alive, cannot keep him on this earth. It is incapable of doing this. Now, we come to Hebrews 9:27, and as it is appointed for men to die once, but after this, the judgment. I underline the word appointment. We understand the word appointment. Appointment means there is a day set. That may be a scary thing. But God knows the day for every one of us. He knows the day for every one of us. If we could go to Him and say, could you show us on the calendar, when do I die? He could do it. He could take out the calendar, whatever year it happens to be, point to the month and the day, there it is. That's your appointment. You don't know it. You're going to hold it. You can't escape it. But there is an appointed day for every one of us. And yeah, we can see someone like Hezekiah where that date changed for him. Because of certain things that he did, God gave him another 15 years. So that date changed. God was going to destroy the city of Nineveh. So that day changed too at their repentance. It changed. Those that would have died, and residents of Nineveh, after 40 days, they would have been dead. So there was a date for them all. But at their repentance, that date changes. It changes. But here is something, we don't set it. We can't set it. God has done that. There's been plenty of folks I've known in my lifetime where someone is thought to be in their deathbed and they're not. They recover and they go back to normal life. And everybody thought, this person has hours. Everybody thought that. And I have known plenty of healthy people who never spent much time, if any, in a hospital, and now they're dead. And no one thought that they were going to die that day. Nobody thought it. There's this day, and it's appointed, and I can only assume it's good that we don't know that day. Matter of fact, I'm certain it's good that we don't know that day. Because we have to get our lives right now. Don't play with your eternity. Don't play around with God. Don't do it. Because everyone has this appointed time. No one knows when it is, and you can be too late, and it's done. Lifting your eyes like the rich man from Luke chapter 16, lifting your eyes in torments. It's done. There's nothing you can do at that point. You're in torment. And the next step is standing in front of Christ in judgment and being cast away into hell. It's very simple. It's very simple. Now, we talked about this, but I want you to see it. The false assumption of another day. There is this appointment. Never think, and I'm guilty of it as anybody else, of making plans for next year or later this year, or making plans even for next week. But it should always be with the thought of, it may not happen because I may not live. I may not live at all. There is this false assumption that we can have that we always have another day when we may not. God may be saying, fool, this night your soul is required of you. This night it's required. Materialism is a love for things you can never keep. You can't. You have it for a little while. The billionaires that live today, with whatever wealth they have, they've got it temporarily, and then it's gone. They don't have it anymore. Anybody can be a materialist. You can live in the middle of a desert surrounded by nothing but sand and still be a materialist. But in our culture, in our country, in this day and age, it is very easy to be a materialist. It's very easy, with a lot of materialism being thrown at us. Things we must have, things we must own, things this would improve somehow your life. There is happiness based in this. There's happiness in having this. It makes you popular. It makes you whatever. Whatever it is, you will be happy. And here is this love for things. Love for things. I remember a story about a man who had been, he had created, just worked extremely hard creating this particular machine. It was going to be his. He was creating this particular machine. Well, something catastrophic happens because of that machine. He ends up in the hospital, and he wakes up and he tells folks, I used to love things and use people. Then he said, I had it the wrong way. I need to love people and use things. Things won't follow you into eternity. Now, souls will, but things will not follow you into eternity. And things are not needing you, but people do. We're not to love things, we are to love God and to love mankind, to love each other. That's what we do. Materialism is faith in things that actually do little to nothing. The Hope Diamond, I've seen the Hope Diamond. Don't want it, but I've seen it. What good can it do to you? What good can it do for you? You could sell it, then you can get something good out of it, but on its own, I don't have a use for it whatsoever. It would just be collecting dust to be stuck in a drawer somewhere. What good is it at all? And people can have a faith in things that really do nothing. That do nothing to help, and certainly cannot get them into eternity in heaven. Certainly cannot. Materialism sets the highest happiness on things that can't last. They don't. But here, my happiness, my faith, my love is only in what is absolutely temporary and goes no further. Materialism, and here we need to look at this, disregards all things eternal. It ignores, dismisses, scoffs at, hates, belittles, just the here and now, that's it. Nothing else matters. Just what I can get here, what I can get now, and that's all. Anything beyond this is nothing less than a joke. That's it. Materialism looks down its nose at anything eternal because you can't see it, you can't detect it, but God gives us the warnings. God teaches it. Do we have faith in Him or not? Do we have faith in Him or not? Do not lay up for yourselves treasures. Matthew chapter 6, verse 19. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. This is the tenuous nature, the precarious nature of material goods. Not only do you lose them at death, but you may lose them well before you die. Because everything has a shelf life on this earth. Everything does. Moth and rust can destroy it. Thieves can break in and steal. And where things can suddenly, you have faith in the stock market, it can crash. And what you had yesterday is not what you have today. The dollar can also become so devalued that the value that it had today, it may not have today. And like what would happen in the Weimar government of Germany, where you had this extraordinary inflation that was there. You had this extraordinary devaluing of the mark to where millions of marks would not give you a loaf of bread. It just became worthless, absolutely worthless piece of paper. And there's a photo of children playing in the street with stacks of money. You might as well give it to them. It's not worth anything. It's worth nothing. You could use it to light fires, or to build yourself a nice fire. It's worthless, absolutely worthless. And here it is. Lay up for yourself treasures on earth. What happens to it? It's destroyed. It can be destroyed. It can be taken from you. Anything can happen to you. It doesn't stick around for long, and it can just fly away. It can just have wings and go away. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. That's where our treasures should be. That's it. Now, how is that done? That is going to be by simple obedience to God and everything He calls us to do. And that would be bearing with one another in love. That would be that of visiting the widows and orphans in their affliction and keeping yourself unspotted from the world. There is pure religion right there. Pure and undefiled religion is this. It's to visit them in their affliction. That's part of it. How do you have treasures in heaven? By doing what's right and what God has called us to do. And each one of us has the ability to follow God. You can do it. And we can get caught up in all sorts of things, and we can look at things that occurred in the Old Testament, or look at things that occurred in other people, and we can see, this is where they went wrong. This is what they thought. This is what they did. And they should have stayed with God. Not realizing that when we come up to similar situations, that we can be guilty of the same thing. That somehow with them it was wrong, but with us we can justify it. With them, obviously was sin, but with us, but this was, it's different because it's me. It's not different. God is no respecter of person. Sin is always sin. Mistakes are always mistakes. Immorality is always that. It doesn't change regardless of who does it. Regardless. And so, moth and rust, thieves can't get in. Nothing can take away this treasure, not even Satan. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. You can know what your treasure is. You can know it. because that's where your heart is. That's where your mind is. That's what concerns you. Nothing else. That takes top priority. We go to verse 33, Matthew 6, but seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Do you believe that or not? Sometimes it can be difficult to take that step. It can be difficult to take that step. But seek first the kingdom of God. He'll take care of you. And His righteousness, He'll take care of you. He promised that He would. He promised that He would. What is the saying, enough is like a feast? Yeah, we won't be the richest people on earth following Christ as far as material wealth. Not likely to be. But we can be the richest people on earth in heavenly wealth. Richest people on earth looking toward a heavenly home and go home to Him. That is the greatest thing that can happen to any one of us. And our greatest fear should be the one who can cast us away in hell. And our greatest love should be, and respect, should be to Him. Why? Because He created us. If He created us, let's face it, He owns us. If He created us, but He wants our hearts. He wants us with Him. It's not just blind obedience. It's not just do this and don't think about it. It is done in faith. The words are for us to learn, let's learn from them. And anything we need to adjust, let's go ahead and make that adjustment. Always looking at ourselves and trying to learn and to improve what we've got. To improve our own character, to improve our behavior, to do more, do what we can do today. This morning, if you need to respond to the invitation, if we can help you in any way, we ask that you come as we stand and sing.